What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with the Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. And guess what? That's right. Our beloved sports cards, our glorious quadrilaterals, hath broke the internet. 421 million doll hairs in 1 month. And that's what I'm going to talk about with you today. And if you're on YouTube, I want to get your opinion. Hit him with the intro. All right, so let me set the scene like Christopher Nolan. The August sales, we're in September now, in case you haven't seen your Apple Watch. We are in September. August sales just shattered records. $421 million across the hobby, according to Card Ladder. Not sponsored by Card Ladder. Unless Card Ladder wants to sponsor, holla at your boy. I'm very affordable. Just help me buy more Jordan Poole cards. Also, don't know why I sing. Never been professionally trained. Tyler, stay focused. Okay, so let's unpack this like a pack of 1988 Donruss and see what this means for collectors like us. Is that a PBS thing? For people like us. PBS, people like us. That's not, it's PLS. It's close. I need to chill. All right. So why do we think that August had such high card sales? It's a great question, Tyler, that I'm asking myself. And why did it explode in August? What cosmic alignment led collectors to drop 421? And spoiler alert, I think it wasn't just collectors. I think it was investors. It was just 13 million for the Kobe and Jordan logo, man. That 13 million isn't a huge change. No. But when you have a big name like Kevin O'Leary jumping in, it validates our market. We made a whole episode about that, a whole ep, if you will, breaking that down. Actually made 2 episodes on that, so that's how much it mattered to me. But what it does, it validates, and it takes a few minutes. It might take a few months or a few years, but I think it's going to validate for other people to get in there. I think that wasn't the sole reason it went up in card sales in August. But again, Tyler's opinion. All this Tyler's opinion. That's how podcasts work. Just a random white guy with a microphone giving you his opinion on stuff. They should put a tax on microphones. Calm down, Facebook comments, all right? Why I think August popped off is because I think it was like a Super Bowl halftime collaboration. You got Eminem, you got Dr. Dre, 50 Cent's hanging upside down, Snoop gonna come out there. We have a Tupac hologram. Everything kind of hit in August, and that's why I think we had the spike. So, yes, you had the Kevin O'Leary $13 million largest card sale of all time. Yes, you had some other stuff pop off. A couple Caitlin Clarks went pretty big. But that wasn't like, that was even with as big as those were, there was a fraction of the 421 million. Why I think it did it, not just that, other investors saw that, and maybe they jumped in for $3,000, $5,000, 10 grand, jumped in and bought some stuff. But also you had the National literally ended at the end of July. We all know that like the month or two leading up to the National, sales usually dip on everything because people are saving money or saving cards. If they have a booth, they're saving cards to set up. If they are wanting to go buy, they save their money. So there's always a dip that 2 or 3 months leading into the National. After the National, people that sold their cards, got their cards, and they now have money. They can now go in. I didn't spend that. I'm going to go buy something now on eBay. It's a buy it now. Click, click, boom. POD. Shout out POD. How are they doing? Has anybody checked on POD lately, or am I all by myself? I'm sorry. I think, guys, I think I might have ADD. I think I chased a few too many squirrels, and that's on me, fam. After the National, redirect, Tyler. So you've got investors jumping in August. You've got the National ends at the end of July, start of August. Now people can use the money they just made or the money they didn't spend at the National. They can now go in and buy stuff. NFL season heating up. Preseason stuff's happening. People are going and grabbing this quarterback or this backup quarterback. They're trying to jump ahead of the game, all right? You got that. And so I think all of those things, along with the normal sustained sales and the consistency of the hobby, I think all those combined led to this crazy month that we saw pop up pretty much all across the board. Okay, so my next question for you, and I love your thoughts in the comments as always, if you're on YouTube or Spotify. If you're not, we love having you, you Apple Podcast beauties. What does this mean for the health, quote unquote, health of the hobby? Is the follow up, question B, is this spike a one-off, or is it the hobby's glow up finally paying off? So that's my question to you, okay? So I think personally, It's similar to me right now. I feel like we are where Silicon Valley is right now with AI companies. Like I do a lot of stuff with education, and so I get hit up by all these AI companies, hey, we're starting this new AI product for teachers, and they're all similar, but they all have different features that kind of like make them unique and things that they're leaning into. But like social media, Instagram stole Snapchat stories, and now you can have Instagram stories, and Snapchat wouldn't sell to them. So like all these companies start overlapping and doing similar things. And one of the similar things we're seeing is a lot of those places are bouncing into Silicon Valley. I think that we are starting to see a Silicon Valley move in of collectors, people that collect, pouring in, willing to spend a little money. You got a little bit of that summer money. A lot of educators have y'all noticed this? A lot of educators in the sports card collecting game. They're, I don't know if you know this, but in the teacher world, most schools, what they do is, because you're off for like 2 months in the summer, usually, you're off usually June and July or, mid-June to mid-August. And it's 2 months you're off. So what they do is they usually give you 2 or 3 paychecks at the beginning of the summer. And it's like all your summer paychecks. It finishes out your contract. And honestly, by the time you hit like late July, early August, a lot of educators be strapped for cash. And so now we're getting our first paychecks. I think that matters. People coming in and starting to buy stuff. End of summer, I'm going to buy my kid a back to school blaster box, whatever it is. I think you're seeing that increase with money. And then I think this fandom, people aren't just fans anymore. They're treating cards almost like mini stock portfolios. And I know a lot of us have been doing that for a while, but let's just be real. Cardboard is a lot more attractive than a number on your Cash App, okay, or your Robinhood. And so it's more fun to collect these. And again, that trickle-down effect of investors and people getting into it, they're going to start grabbing some stuff. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to ask this question to you. How do you think these culture icons, and I say culture because I think Caitlin Clark has become a culture icon. Like the debate now is, are there any NBA players under the age of 25 who are more popular than Caitlin Clark? And I don't think there are any. Like you would think maybe Wemby, maybe Ant. I think Caitlin Clark is bigger than both of them, in my opinion, IMO. All right. And if you got anybody that you think's bigger, throw that in the comments. I love your opinion. No right or wrong, no rudeness, no hate. Let's just throw in our opinions. But we saw a couple big Caitlin Clark sales. You had one for I think $366,000 and another one for like $660,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you've got 2 big CC sales that tallied up to $1 million. One was that red WNBA logo. Would it be Logo Woman? Is that how you say it? The Logo Woman come out. You saw a couple of those big sales. And I think because Caitlin Clark is infusing in this culture, like WNBA cards are no longer a niche market. They are no longer Batman Forever metal cards from the 90s. All right. I go to shows now and there are WNBA cards on minimum of all, and this is an unofficial percentage, minimum half the tables I go to, there are WNBA cards in the showcases. I'm not talking about like a little box off to the side. In the showcases. All right? Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink. You got Asia Wilson, Joel Lloyd. You've got a ton of these young players that you're seeing. Sabrina, Stewart. Like all these players you're seeing bounce up. And I think personally, and we've talked about a whole episode on this, CC, Caitlin Clark, she's like, kind of the top of the hobby mountain. She's not the best player in the WNBA, but she is the biggest cultural icon. And I think we are starting to see that trickle down into these other tiers of WNBA players, and I think that's going to start elevating them as well. Will CC go higher? Maybe. I mean, her numbers keep going up, but I think we're going to see other players move more consistently. And again, women sports cards are no longer niche. Like, women's sports are sports. You know what I mean? Like it is a full-on market. And even if you don't like it or don't collect it, first off, look in your heart. What's wrong? Like, why are you so angry that women play sports? Like, bro, if you had a shootout with Kelsey Plum, she gonna cook you. All right? Like, let's just be real. But like, stop getting so offended that women have a market. Just like you might not have been into hockey cards, you ain't talking trash to a hockey player to their face because they would, elbow, bow to the face. What comes after L? Bow. That's from, was it not Kindergarten Cop? What was that from? That was some movie. It's a very niche reference. You're seeing what I like to call the trailblazer effect in women's sports cards, whereas Caitlin Clark is like the Matrix. Y'all remember, for people that weren't born in the 2000s, do y'all remember when The Matrix came out in 99? I think it was 99. When The Matrix came out, for the next 10 years, every single movie you watched, it was an action movie, had a slow-mo dodge scene. Everything, because Neo dodged the bullets up in the, I guess it was during check-in or something, when he was when he was going through security, he's dodging bullets. Every action movie for the next 10 years, you saw that. Caitlin Clark is the Matrix for this. You're seeing her pave the way, and I think that other athletes in that SECT sect of collecting WNBA cards, you're going to see more and more. I am really interested to see how WNBA cards from like the past 10, 20 years sell, because I bought a collection a while back and had a bunch of late 90s, like in the WNBA just started, had a bunch of their cards, and I looked them up and like not a ton of them sold. I even had some like rare ones in there, and I kept a few. I need to go check my booth at the Cotton Shed because I put them in there a couple years ago. I think we're going to see people looking back on those early years of WNBA and starting to go try to collect those players. Lisa Leslie, Miller, like all these players that were like straight ballers back when it didn't have as much attention. And I think people are going to start looking there if they can't get the CC cards they want or the current player cards that they want. I think also, and this is another reason I think we're seeing this, and it kind of ties into that cultural bump that we saw with CC. I keep calling her CC. Miss Clark, I apologize. Long time listener to the pod. You're great. I think we're also seeing a culture boost with where selling cards is. Like influencer, I say influencer, that's got a bad connotation. Like the sports card creator community, we are seeing more and more people lean into that. More and more creators come out to the point now, like I think his name's Cosmic Cards. He makes hilarious videos where he imitates or like kind of like almost like not mocks. I think he does it not in a rude way very often, but like he's imitating different card creators. Your niche space has gotten to a pretty good level when you start seeing other creators pop up who are now like commentators on that space. I like Bill Simmons' podcast. I had a random Spotify podcast pop up that is literally a Reddit. It's a podcast that is it's like a Reddit forum podcast commenting on the Bill Simmons podcast. We have sports. That's one bubble. Then you have Bill Simmons who's commentating on sports. Now you have like a third generation, another podcast commentating on Bill Simmons' commentary on the NBA. It's like these worlds, when they get so big and enough people follow it and they're engaged with it. And like I thought I was going to change that third tier podcast immediately. I listened to almost the whole thing because it was like, oh, cool. It's like someone I can converse with about something that I listen to that is conversing on other things. And it's like talking about that world and that universe. And one of the things I've noticed, and I love your thoughts, I'm seeing more and more people, more creators pop up commenting and discussing the creator community of sports cards, which means that creator community has gotten so big or so much like, so much depth behind it with the community that like is observing it and watching it and listening to it, to the point that we now have commentators on that. And I think that's a big indicator for where that market's going. And then also, and I say this as somebody who literally dropped a collab with eBay like today. By the way, if you get a chance, please go to my Instagram or my YouTube and like text it to your friend, fake text it. I don't care. Help share that post so that eBay does not regret collaborating with me. That would be awesome. But eBay, which is the biggest player, bigger than Fanatics. They are the biggest player in this space. And they are now putting, and Mike Giuseppe, Sports Cards Nonsense, the greatest sports card podcast on earth, he was talking on the pod about how eBay Live is making real pushes into this. And so you're seeing big companies invest in it. You're seeing creators commenting on creators. And you're seeing these companies invest in that creator space. And I'll say this too. Live streams, these what we used to call breaks, or like these single sales like eBay Live, whatnot, Fanatics Live, you are seeing those communities become a community. Like people love Mike Giuseppe's breaks. They love Stephanie Mama Breaks. They love her breaks. They love those communities because they find community in those comments and they connect with that creator or that breaker, whoever it is. That is what we're seeing as a new growth in the culture, not just of sports cards, but in culture in general. My sister, she goes and she buys. It's funny because I've been doing with sports cards the past few years. She got into these, like, I have a couple here if you're on the YouTube. They're called Little People. So she collects like vintage toys and stuff. And so like I went on her, she did her first Whatnot live stream, and I went in and bought like a few that look like my kids. So I got like one that looks like my youngest son, one looks like my oldest son, and then one it's Anna from Frozen, because my daughter was in a play and she played young Anna in the play. So I bought all three to like represent my kids. And my sister got in there, and there's like a whole community around selling these little vintage toys. And like I jumped in just to support her and buy some stuff. And I noticed in the comments, like, these people jump from stream to stream, and there were multiple streams that night for little people. These different communities, it's not just sports cards that we're seeing this in. My buddy Retro Rick, like it works with Whatnot, collabs with them all the time. He has a stream of people that go in there for vintage video games and vintage toys. Like these markets, it's becoming it's like it reminds me, if you're old enough, like AOL chat rooms. Y'all remember that? You would like AOL instant message like the girls from other schools, like, hey, what's up, Sarah? I'm Tyler from Boxside. I know you go to Benton. You be my friend. And she's like, no, fam, you're not cool enough. Whatever. Might be pulling from personal experience. Let's not get into that. Okay, you're not my therapist. Well, actually, I guess you are kind of my therapist. How are you guys? Let me tell you my issues. No, like AOL Instant Messenger was like those one-on-one conversations. That's me and my buddy Chris. We text about cards all the time, one-on-one convos. But then sometimes when Chris is busy or you want to just see other people's thoughts, you used to have to jump into, like, they had these AOL chat rooms about different topics. I used to always go into Harry Potter AOL chat rooms, and we would just go in and talk Harry Potter, because it was like Harry Potter, believe it or not, used to be really niche back in the day. I got into it after the third book dropped, and it was still really new, and there was no movies, there was no like real commentary besides like those AOL chat rooms, and that's where I would talk to people about things I was interested in. Now these live selling rooms, whether it's breaks, packs, or like singles, you're seeing communities develop in there. It is becoming a cultural movement across multiple different genres of toys, collectibles, and just interests, special interests. Whereas it's the next level of YouTube comments. I'm sorry, I'm on this tangent now, but this is another world that I'm super fascinated with and I love. In YouTube videos, the past 5 or 10 years, we have seen communities emerge around creators. Oh, those are David Dobrik fans, or Logan Paul. What did he call his group? Oh my gosh, Low Gang. Hey, what's up, Low Gang? And Jake Paulers, and like they have these different names for their different like people and communities, and people felt connected and seen there. Now we're starting to see the next evolution of that, whereas it's not just me commenting with other people on a YouTube video, it's me going into a live stream or going into a live break and talking live, not just to community members, but to the creator that I'm connected with and that I like. I'm serious, guys. We're going to see this develop. I genuinely think these live streams, these breaks, all this stuff, one, the communities are pushing money into it. eBay Live's putting real money in there. All these companies are pushing money into these streams, these avenues, but also people are connecting in there around shared interests. And once somebody remembers your name, bro, you on Cheers. You Norm from Cheers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you walk in and people know you. Oh, yo, what's up, Tarver Cards? Or, yo, what's up, so-and-so? What's up, at so-and-so, whatever the name is. It feels good to be seen. And then talk about things that you care about with other people that care about them. So I don't know. I don't know why that tangent happened, but I just seriously think we are seeing that next cultural evolution. And I think it might just be the start. I know this could be a bump. It could be the top of that mountain, but I genuinely think we're going to see more and more people get connected, feel seen and understood, and start diving into some of these live platforms and then also these YouTube communities. And I say that as somebody who's a very small like YouTube community, but I'll be honest, a lot of you guys are super awesome. Like there's some of you guys that literally will go in and just comment sports cards are dope under their videos. And I'm like, it makes me smile every time, because sports cards are dope was just something I said, and I decided to name a podcast like / YouTube show after, and you guys are commenting it. And it's like, it feels so cool for me, and I don't know if other creators feel this way. I assume they do. It feels so cool for me to feel seen as somebody who's putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into talking and creating a community around this. Like, this is something I'm passionate about, and I love collecting and love talking about. And it's just cool because the avenue I enjoy whenever I'm passionate about something is creating social media videos or creating long content or podcasts. And it's just cool whenever we get to converse in the comments and talk and just support each other and just discuss what we think about this dope hobby. It's kind of weird. It's pictures of sweaty dudes doing athletic things on cards, and we like it, and it's fun. And so I think more and more people are leaning in there, and I think it's become more culturally acceptable as a way we all just kind of hang out and talk. So real quick, I want to go in and give you 5. These are my quick hit takeaways about what we can get from this past month. Number one, we've got some insane momentum rolling into this. We're talking like beginning wave of 2020. I say that. We might be talking about the wave that we saw in 2020, or maybe just a little baby bump going up. I will say this, from what it looks like, most of the sales were not those multi-million-dollar cards. Yeah, we had a big Wilt sale, and I think a big, what's his name? George Mikan, first NBA superstar. We saw a big jump on 2 of their cards, but that's still a fraction of that $421 million. Most of the cards that were sold were in the $500 to $5,000 range. And so it's still those mid-tier cards that are carrying the hobby. But what that means, and I've talked about this before, we get comfortable buying in ranges, and I think more and more people are moving up. I call myself a COVID baby when it comes to collecting. I don't know if any of you, in the comments, if you're on YouTube, comment COVID baby if you got in the 2020, 2021. That's right when I got in, and it wasn't because it was on the news. I don't watch the news. It was because my kid wanted some comic strip books that I knew I had, and I was like, I'm not paying $15 on Amazon for Calvin and Hobbes. So I went to my parents' mini storage. And when I was getting my books, which I found, saved myself like $400 on those books for my kid, I also saw my Michael Jordan binder, and it just ignited this nostalgic like wave over me where I got back into it. And so I think we're seeing maybe some that got in then and bounced out, maybe got burned a little bit whenever it was really expensive and then it dropped. Maybe they're feeling like, hey, okay, investors are getting in. Maybe I can lean into this as well. I think we're building some stability. Like it was lower, 2000s up until 2020. Then we saw this huge spike, and then it dropped. And a lot of people kind of lost the bag. And now I think we've seen over the past 3 or 4 years this slow incline. And I think it's just a natural progression of it. That's what I think. Could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me based on how it feels being someone who's like very into the hobby and tries to be connected across it. Honestly, it's like Chris Paul said, it's about consistency. In sports cards, we just got to keep stacking days, stacking sales. Number 2, I think we have a new buying power. Number 1, fans of women's sports get in. People are buying it for their kids. They have daughters that are into it. They're buying more of those cards. They're buying legends because they see them, their prices going up and up. And then we also see investors. So we're seeing this new buying power kind of lean in. And it's not doubling overnight, but it's been an increase. And I think more and more people are seeing it as a place. Investors see it as a legitimate place like art or vintage cars, something like that. That's not just like, oh, junk wax. Like we're seeing, okay, this is where I could put my money that has value. Number 3, we've got scarcity plus a story is where the magic is. Scarcity plus story equals magic. Cards tell stories, and I think that those stories are now getting a voice on social media. People like the Real 27 guy, one of the best storytellers. I call him the Indiana Jones of the hobby. One of the best storytellers in the hobby, and I think he's getting. He's getting more and more influence and audience, and I think people are leaning in and understanding the story behind the cardboard, and I think that makes another layer of people wanting to get involved because of that. Number 4, I think we're seeing a cross-sector crossover. So Fanatics has been leaning in, been adding in, we had a Star Wars drop recently. We're seeing all these like Marvel, Star Wars, you got Leaf has all like Pop Century stuff. Like you're seeing more and more people that aren't just sports fans jumping in and finding a lane. And number 5, we kind of already talked about way too much. I went on a tangent. I like to call it a sine cosine tangent. Math teacher, got him. SOHCAHTOA. Some old hag caught another hag tripping on acid. That's how you remember SOHCAHTOA. Actually, I used that in my second year teaching, and then I stopped using it because parents don't like it when you talk about hags tripping on acid. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't be a hag, and you shouldn't be tripping on acid. This has taken a turn. This is a children's program. Actually, it's for anybody. Number 5, community energy. I'm sorry, that was terrible. I'm so sorry. Number 5, community energy. I think we are seeing content amplify sales, and then the cultural tie-ins, whatnot. Even TikTok Shop, I forgot to mention them. They're getting into it. eBay Live. What else? Fanatics Collect, or not Fanatics Collect. Fanatics Live. We're seeing these jump in. It's like think of it this way, like the WWE. I'm not huge into wrestling, but like there is some physical like feats that you have to do in the WWE. That's the actual like cards of it. But most of what makes the WWE appealing is the story and the amplification of what's happening. It's the build up around it. And I think we've got so many creators in this space, so many people launching, whether it's live selling communities or podcasts, hey, what's up, or YouTube shows or, TikTok accounts. We're seeing more and more people jump in and add layers to this awesome hobby that we really love so much. And so, I'll be honest, I'll give you an example. Again, I think it's like a third time I brought him up. Love Mike GSF. He's great. By the way, I'm going to figure out how to make a short video out of this. But in the last podcast, they mentioned me because I made a short video where I think Java Cards screenshot Asa Newell, who's a basketball player for the Hawks, who's a rookie. He was signing one of his cards. It was his 1-on-1 Superfractor, and he put it on TikTok. And I don't know if he's supposed to or if that was it was a promo that they were like, hey, Asa, do this. We'll give you some money. I don't know. Who knows? But he put that on there. I saw it on Java Card Story. I screenshot it, and then I made a short video about it. I was like, yo, these look sick, because I do think they look sick. That's a genuine opinion. Not a paid ad by Topps. Topps, unless you want to pay me, holla at your boy. We taking sponsors, because your boy needs to buy a Michael Jordan on-card auto, and they are expensive. So, Tyler, stay focused. I ain't mean I'm just focused. Who said that in the comments? What was I talking about? Oh. And so on their podcast, Sports Cars Nonsense, the best sports car podcast out there. Second, Hobby Handbook, Clever Keeping Cards. Third, Sports Cards are dope. Completely biased. Probably not true. On Sports Cards Nonsense, Jesse brought up, he's like, I saw on Tyler Tarver's post, he was talking about this, it got leaked, and he showed Mike the picture, and what Jesse did was he took a screenshot. Dude, guys, nobody looks good on screenshots, okay? That we all look like bridge trolls. Answer my riddle 3. That's what it looks like when you take a screenshot, okay? And I also just don't have a good face for screenshots. That's just the way I was born. Sorry, blame my mother, all right? And so he screenshot and he showed it to Mike, and Mike was like, bro, why does Tarver look like he's having a stroke? What is wrong with him? And he said, thoughts and prayers up to Tarver, because he looks like he's having a stroke, which I was laughing out loud at the gym when I listened to it. I'm going to figure out how to make a short about it. It's going to flop, but I want to make a short, but it's hard to do it without sounding pretentious. Oh, look, I got mentioned on the best sports card podcast. But I wanted to be the immediate thing that came to my head when he said thoughts and prayers up to Tarver was that there's that GIF of the Emperor from Star Wars, when he shocks Mace Windu and it goes, and it's ultimate power, and he's shooting the lightning bolts out of his fingers. And I wanted to figure out a joke or some way to make content out of hey, please stop with the thoughts and prayers. I'm getting too powerful. That's kind of something I thought was funny. I don't know if it's going to manifest, but at the very least, we're best friends. So I got to tell you about it. So anyways, I really like Mike. I think he's great. I met him a couple times. We hooped one time in Nashville. I should have gone to the basket more. I was trying to pass it out and not be selfish, but I should have taken the ball to the hoop. I kept passing to a kid that looked confident, but apparently it was his second day to ever play basketball. So that's my bad. Nobody gave me the scouting report. Any Hooskies. I saw that he was doing an eBay live, and I went in, and it was a pretty crowded room, and I try not to bid in crowded rooms because the prices usually go up pretty high. But he had a Brooks Robinson. It was one of those really oversized yellow ones. And Brooks Robinson, he's from Arkansas, I believe, or at least he played for the Travelers, I think. And he was one of my dad's favorite players growing up. And so I always pick up Brooks Robinson and Johnny Bench stuff for my dad. And so it was an autograph thing, and I bid up to 50 or $60. No idea what comps were, but I went into that room and stuck around and paid that money for that because I like Mike. I wanted to support him and his stream and what he was doing with eBay. And granted, I was a drop in the bucket of what he sold that night, but that was me making a contribution to what I'm doing. Whenever you have a space where people feel that way towards creators, and I'm not donating to Jordan Poole, I'm donating to a person who comments on cards, which is a comment on sports. So really we're 4 tiers down if we're talking about supporting creators in our space. But it's just another sign that this community is becoming more and more invested in each other's success. And that's what I think we have here. So I think we're seeing more and more of that community stuff. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I'm pretty excited, honestly, that August was October Sky rocket boost for the hobby. And I hope it keeps going up. I hope that it keeps escalating. I hope that the slope, if you will, stays positive. It's not a linear, it's not a line. It's more of I don't know, I can't remember. It's not quadratic. It's quadratic loops. That'd be like a parabola. Man, it's been a hot minute since I taught math. My daughter has finally hit algebra, and I taught algebra for a long time. And so now I'm legitimately able to help her. And I was talking to my wife because before this, I'm sorry, my wife's calling. Hope I don't script audio. Oh, we're going to find out. If not, I have to re-record this. So one of the things with my daughter growing up, like I would try to help her with math, but like they teach math different now. Like I can't be like, I just do it this way and just memorize it. She's like, no, we have to do like draw these and do stacks. And it's not something I'm familiar with. I could figure it out, but I don't know the exact way her teacher taught it. Now that she's in high school, it's like, it's back to how it was 10 years ago when I was teaching. I was like, bro, I can teach slope all day. And I'm teaching my heart on the slope. It was awesome. It was really fun to talk about something I knew about. But I don't know why I got on that tangent. But let's just hope the slope going up stays positive for the sports card hobby. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments if you're on Spotify and or YouTube. Obviously, the ratings help, whatever. And I actually have, I don't know if you can see it on the YouTubes. Look at this. New hats. We got their surfer hats. Super comfortable. They're nice to sweat in. They're like, if you're running or you're stinky and sweaty on the show floor, these are perfect, bro. They feel even better backwards. Look at this. Look how cool I could look someday. My hair is still going, but it's hanging on for dear life. I'll tell you this, my hair's lasted 10 years longer than my dad's did, so I'm happy about that. But I don't know, if you want these surf hats, we got Sports Cards Are Dope hats with the chicken nugget on it, sportscardsardope.com if you want to get those. I've got a really fun limited edition drop. We're trying to figure out how to do it, but that'll be coming out soon, and just stay tuned. Stay tuned for more if you want to, or not. Follow your heart. Thank you guys so much for watching. Never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope, and so are you. Thank you guys so much. Y'all be good. Stay sweet. Later.